Hello, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Mary Magdalene, Sean Donnelly, TND Tesla. This is the usual annual Thanksgiving give back where I just answer questions. But I did pose this to Patreon yesterday, and I basically distilled down about 500 questions into a top 10 list. So we'll tackle that first, and then we'll do open questions at the end. But a lot of people want to know, what's next? Where do we go from here? Are we still bullish? Do we take profits? What do we sell? What do we buy? Blah, 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 all that stuff. So we'll get into it. And again, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being here on this journey. What a year. What a 2024. It's been completely bonkers. So anyway, let's not waste any more time. This is happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. I know it's an American holiday, but we should also always give thanks to everybody for everything anyway. Health is wealth. And a special thank you as well to Patreon. From Guillermo Cruz, long-time subscriber to both Patreon and YouTube. And thanks, James, everyone that is behind. Thank you so much. Yes, also a big shout out to the team behind me that make all of this possible. And of course, this is not financial advice, but let's get into the quick agenda of the top topics that people have. Many of them are just, you could nearly expect them, but a couple of interesting ones too. One is where we are with Bitcoin strategy, Bitcoin nation states. Where do we see it going? What could happen after Thanksgiving? I have a chart for that. We'll talk about market manipulation and shorting. We'll talk about diversification, altcoins. We'll talk about people who are trapped in a bag. How should they get out with profit taking? We'll look at some fundamental analysis, ways in which I was able to find really good assets early. All I do is data here. All I do is analyze ratios and ratios and ratios. And that works, by the way. Nobody else does that. But it works for me because it's a traditional way of doing things. Anyway, we'll talk about retirement investment planning, what to do now at this stage of the bull market, tax implications, a couple of things that I do. Again, I only share what I do. I don't tell people what to do. Remember that? A little bit of crypto and AI revolution. And of course, I spelled crypto wrong. Excellent. And then open Q&A. So let's blast through. First of all, what's next for Bitcoin? This is probably the best Thanksgiving chart I found for Bitcoin from Crypto Rover. And this is Thanksgiving 2017. 2017 is the analog for this current bull run. 2021, 2022 was manipulated shark lever. Thank you. Take care of the sharks. But if you look at what happened in 2017 and compare that to what's going to happen over the next year afterwards, well, good things could potentially be coming. And in fact, if this chart is correct, and if we do rocket after Thanksgiving, and by the way, we rocketed in November, which is exactly what happened with a little blip in 2017 as well. But things could be crazy. And this is confluent also with the Van Eck $180,000 Bitcoin target. So again, it's not over. 99,780 was not the top by no stretch. Now, let's talk about this too. Bitcoin for nation states. There's a lot of people stacking who are not the usual suspects. And a lot of people are concerned, how are they doing this? How are Marathon and MicroStrategy and the ETFs, how are they buying so much and the price isn't exactly going to the moon? Well, it sort of is. In fact, I believe if it wasn't for the ETFs and MicroStrategy, the price of Bitcoin would be about $42,000. So for all the people that hate these new players, well, it's helped your price of your Bitcoin. But there's a lot of stuff going on that is completely crazy. And I'd like to talk a minute about what I've been saying for a long time. Treasuries, treasuries, treasuries. They are the new retail investor this cycle. Treasuries are going to be absolutely massive. Anglo Blackson, thank you so much. But for a second, I just want to refresh everybody on why I am obsessed with Bitcoin. It's because of scarcity. And BD, long time no see, buddy. 21 million Bitcoin is not only for 8 billion people, it's also for 334 million companies and 205 nation states. This is game theory from Carl Menger. This is so important. 334 million corporations. Again, I advised a small plumbing firm to stack Bitcoin in their balance sheet. They got 3 vans and 4 plumbers in San Francisco. And now they got a bunch of Bitcoin and they're very happy. In fact, they're making more money on Bitcoin than they ever did from plumbing. But that's a separate issue. But imagine all the other companies that are coming in every single day we get a new Bitcoin treasury. That's the way you pump your stock fast. We saw Semler. Semler was down 80% from its all-time highs, decided to buy some Bitcoin. Boom! One of the top performing stocks of the year. MicroStrategy has 5x the return on Bitcoin. Boom! Because it's a leveraged trade. It takes fiat at 0% and buys Bitcoin with it. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then nation states. This cannot be overstayed nation states are going to be huge too. In the US alone, there's threat of the American government playing some game theory with all the advisors that are advising the current organization that'll be running the country. Many of them are pro-crypto, and they understand the first mover advantage. If the US decides to allocate to Bitcoin, that's it. Game over. Game over, ladies and gentlemen. We won. But now there are many states in the US front-running the Bitcoin federal acquisition. They are places like Florida, Pennsylvania, Wyoming. Who else am I missing? Texas. They all want to do it. And they know it's a game of time. The quicker you move, the better off you are. So for the people, the short-term retail investors that are selling, they're not making a clever move right now. And then there's this other list of people that are either doing or considering stacking Bitcoin. El Salvador, we know. Bhutan, we know. They got over $1 billion bag. Brazil, news this week. Russia, they're doing stuff behind the scenes. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Emirates. I mentioned those states and US. Germany, of course, they sold their bag. Sorry about that. Ukraine, Poland. I mean, it's all happening. And typically when leaders are young or understand how first mover advantage works, they embrace this fast, and it's happening. So that's the big thing. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about this because I had a huge amount of questions yesterday after the Retire on Cocktail update. And everybody's asking, what should we do now? And this is where I throw a little bit of a cold, wet blanket over the people because, my assets, first of all, is kind of a quick brain dump on everything that I see as being very, very important. And I'm trying to summarize 460 questions in a few little slides. One, I urge everybody to be in winning assets. I've illustrated how powerful that is. I've done retire on Bitcoins. I've done retire on Solanas. I've done retire on Teslas. I've done retire on MicroStrategy videos. I've done retire on cocktail videos, etc. Aim for assets that are very disruptive, steady growth, very good risk reward, and then pair trade them, hedge them, and also be prepared to rotate them as well. Also, what's so important, a lot of people had the second category here. They're targeting retirement in 2028 to 2030. This is probably the most disruptive time ever in our lives, definitely in mine. And I've been in the markets for 35 years. I've never seen anything like this, okay? We're talking about 4 S-curves colliding. That's autonomy, robots, which disrupts the labor market. We have self-driving vehicles, transportation will be disrupted, energy storage being disrupted, pulling stuff from the solar reaction in the sky. All that stuff is all happening. And that's AI and energy and transportation, all that disruption. And that's my Tesla play. And then you got crypto. Massive disruption there too. Huge adoption. The adoption that's happened in 2024 has melted my mind completely. We are on the path to 100 million daily active users very quickly now. Watch this space. Once that happens, that means there's 1 billion people in crypto. That means a market cap of $10 trillion is justifiable, and that's good for us. Now, the next thing. So basically, if you are planning to retire in 2028 to 2030, make sure you have heavy positions in these 2 major forces of disruption, okay? Not financial advice. That's exactly how I'm playing it, though. And then strategies for new investors. Some people are new, they just got in, or some people just fell into 100 grand or 50 grand or $1 million. They sold their business, whatever. What do they do now? Well, beware, everybody. You've got to be, don't be FOMOing into assets that have already done a 15x, like Solana, like MicroStrategy. That is dangerous because they're not going to do another 15x in the next year or 2 or 3 or 4. That would be very unlikely. Possible, but very unlikely. But I'll talk more about what is possible actually in a minute. But just at this stage of the game, don't be in a rush to invest. That's why I always say billions are made in the bear. Hold cash. I've been storing cash. You've seen me. I am not buying anything. I'm hedging stuff. I'm perp trading on the side, stacking a little Tesla at super good prices. That's it. I'm not buying Bitcoin or Solana, any of that stuff right now, unless it dips hard. So that's the key. So be careful, everybody. Be very, very picky, or else you'll be one of those investors that comes in late to the party. It's like 2 a.m. The drinks are all gone. Everybody's left, and there's nothing but a mess on the floor. You don't want to be at the party at that stage of the game. So hold your cash. wait for major dips. And then finally, the fourth thing is review and adjust regularly. Keep your tap dancing shoes on. Nothing goes up forever. Take profits, rotate. That is the secret. All right. The other thing that came up a million times was, again, huge questions around MicroStrategy, because I know the community has a ton of MicroStrategy, everybody in Patreon, massive exposures. We have over 1,500 millionaires that are made, 3 decade millionaires. So it's been good. And that's only the ones that we know of. Could be an awful lot more. But I'm going to touch on this very quickly because this is so important as well. Impact of dilution on price targets. We'll talk about that in a second with a slide. When to sell MicroStrategy, I'll talk about that too. Future price scenarios, where could we go? I will share a chart on that. And the debt structure, that's related to number one. Everybody was asking about these 4 things, literally hundreds of people. And they're right to do so because it's very concerning. So I'm going to try to break it down. All right. First of all, convertible debt. This is part of the dilution. Yes. By the way, when they sell shares at a high price to buy Bitcoin, that's good for the shareholder. It's been proven time and time again that that's very good for the shareholder. Okay, so don't sweat that. But there is the other piece that is nothing but, I always tend to be in the most hated assets. You name it, Tesla, Solana, MicroStrategy. There's so many people that weren't on this train and it frustrates them, or they are short, or they missed the opportunity and they are just seething with jealousy and anger. Remember my rule du jour, number 21. Don't envy other people's bags. Be happy for them. Okay? Very important. If you're bitter inside, you're not going to be a good person. Let me break this down for you for a second, though. This tackles 1 and 4? Yeah, debt structure. 1 and 4, not 1 and 2. Yeah. But here, you can see this maturity date here of all these assets. They borrow money at 0 interest rate or 0.63% or 0.88%. Or 0.6, basically for free, considering debasement is about 14%. And there is a conversion premium I logged on the right. So this maturity date gives a timeline for potential dilution. And yes, it is theoretically possible that early conversion happens, but not really. And this is the bond market. This is the infinite money glitch I've been talking about for years. This is happening. Shareholders, of course, need to keep an eye on the stock, keep an eye on the NAV to premium, all that stuff we'll talk about in a second. But be very careful here. Don't sweat it too much. You can see all these maturity dates. 2029, 2028, 2032, 2031, 2030. We have lots of time before these things convert and cause big dilution. All right? Rule number 26, I think, is remember time and place. Remember seasonality. When Bitcoin goes up, this puppy does really well. When it turns, it's not going to do so well. And if it's turning and it's going into a lot of dilution and conversion, not good either. But we'll be prepared for that because we know what's coming. So don't sweat it now. Just watch what I do. Subscribe to the channel or be in Patreon, you know. Now this, I will hammer home again. Michael Saylor posted this. I reposted it yesterday. And again, MicroStrategy is a credit default swap on a $100 trillion market in 20th century assets. So basically, Bitcoin is a 21st century asset or 20th century asset. And Rip Van Winkle put it together very well. He said, Michael Saylor is converting Bitcoin's volatility into a multi-trillion-dollar juggernaut. I call it the reinvention of the brand new bond market. And Rip Van Winkle, he talks about electricity because this is the analogy that Saylor likes to use. So when electricity flows through the power grid, it goes at extremely high voltage, therefore it can pass through power lines over long distances. I think it's about 440 volts. Most households use a lot less, like 110 volts in North America, 220 in Europe. And that's the job of the transformer, which steps it down. Conversely, heavy industry uses high voltage power. And Michael Saylor is using MicroStrategy as a transformer to step up or step down Bitcoin's volatility to suit different players. He's playing both sides of the fence here. You got your equity traders and your leverage equity traders like me. And then you got your bond market like insurance companies. Bond investors love the idea of capturing the upside of Bitcoin with minimal downside. Basically, they're giving money for the potential upside of Bitcoin years down the line, as I showed here. Okay? They get their money back. There's no risk for them. So this is the example of the step down. And then the step up is me. the leveraged options trader, the leverage player. Yes, leverage is dangerous, but it's also a gift if you know how to use it. And that's where we are. It's that simple. Don't overthink it. He is literally changing the whole game. And yes, there are maxis don't get it, traditional finance people don't get it, etc. But that's why you've got to understand things early, and then they can be very, very life-changing. So again, I've covered this a million times. Think of it as an invention of the credit market, the bond market, brand new treasury, whatever you want, playing both sides of the fence. The conservative insurance companies that want to put their little toe in the Bitcoin water but have no downside. And then the people like me who just want infinite upside. Now, other questions, price targets. This is the MicroStrategy ARB model. It's up on Patreon. And here you can see all the stuff, Bitcoin they own, etc. Average cost per Bitcoin, 49,874, the amount that they have, and the current price. Now, what is important here is the NAV premium in the bottom left-hand corner. You got different NAV premium amounts based on different Bitcoin price targets. I've got a couple here. I got 120K marked in green and 200K. A lot of people think we're going to 200K. And 200K sounds like completely ridiculous. I was kind of anchoring on 120K for over a year now, maybe 15 months as a potential target. However, if this crazy stuff happens, 200K is very, very easily done. Very easily done. Anyway, back to that. If you want to know the price targets, as usual, I create the model. You pick your targets. You can pick your NAV premium right now. The NAV premium is about 2.5. A lot of people are talking about it going for 5, 10, or 15. This is possible if MicroStrategy does this, if they create that credit default swap on a $100 trillion bond market. Yes, they can go there. Things will kick off. And remember, risk happens fast, but it can also happen to the downside too. So be conservative. That's where we could go. For example, hypothetically, if we have a 2.5 NAV premium and Bitcoin goes to 200 grand, we could see over $1,000 MicroStrategy. And remember, if MicroStrategy or if Bitcoin does spike like to 150K or 120K or 200K, it could happen very fast. And then this causes the biggest level of gamma squeeze you've ever seen in your life. All the gamma squeeze I called on Tesla over the years, that'll be nothing compared to this. So that's why I play. Leverage. Volatility is vitality. And that's it. Next question is market manipulation. A lot of consternation of what's going on. Why, for example, did Bitcoin fall $5,000 or $6,000? And then 2 days later, it goes up $5,500. Remember, Bitcoin price as we speak right now is 95,220. The gain yesterday on Bitcoin, if that happened again over this weekend, we're at 100,000. And that's kind of crazy. But this is from Marty Party, who shared this chart, and he talks about how market makers manipulate stuff. And remember, gold markets manipulated, certain stock markets are manipulated, options markets are manipulated, perp markets are manipulated. Just bear in mind that happens, and they hunt leverage. I said a few times as well over the last 24 to 48 hours that during a holiday like today, there can be very low volume periods, and that's when the market manipulators strike, and they will hunt leverage longs or leverage shorts. So be careful out there. It could be volatile, and I'll be ready. Finger on the trigger, because I like that. Now, this is going to be a little bit controversial, but these are also questions that came up, and my job is to try to help people. First of all, question, typical one, promising Solana-based altcoins. Where do we go next? And remember, Solana, and we'll talk about those in a second. Remember, Solana is the black hole that's doing everything. Everything. The majority of the transactions across 30,000 blockchains happen on one chain. All the DEX volume is happening on one chain. All the NFT action is happening on one chain. It's bonkers. Bonkers. Another question somebody caught in Cardano. What should they do? And XRP insights. A lot of people are fascinated by the XRP move. First of all, real quick, promising Solana-based altcoins. I've shared this before. I'll share it again. I like the ones that have really good product market fit, really good adoption, really good use case. We got Radium, we got Pyth, we got Nosana, we got Jupiter, and we got Fluxbeam. I forgot to share it last time, but the detailed portfolio will be shared on Patreon later with all the breakdown. But again, I am 80% in these 5. I like to have very, very high concentrations in very few assets. But remember, this whole portfolio is 1% or less than 1% of my MicroStrategy bag. So I want you to always allocate risk and return. These are very risky, but high risk return. If I lose 1% of my MicroStrategy on these things, who cares? If one or two of them go to the moon, I'll be very happy. And some I already have. Jupiter, Nosana, Fluxbeam, and I got into some of these positions back in 2023, early 2024. That was the whole experiment, which I shared publicly and openly. Now, Cardano, people who are stuck in Cardano, they've been waiting years. They bought at $3. What do? And this is not financial advice, but this is sharing the IA profit-taking model, which we spent years building, and now it's released. What does the model say? Well, if your cost base is $3, it tells you, basically, I was kind of taken aback by this. It says, sell 97% of your position at exactly $1.07. Okay, it's like, get out, because it thinks, the model thinks, yeah, it could go up. Is it going to go back to $3.30? Probably not. Not with this type of chart. Not at this stage through the bull run. But can things be artificially pumped? Yes. Could it go up? Yes. Odds are, though, no, per this model. So it says, if you see $1.07, sell 97% of your position and rotate into a better asset, because this is how I analyze tokens. Really simple. Fundamentals, adoption, revenue, technology, you name it. Another interesting video tomorrow, hopefully, if I can get it done. This is, although it's a slide for the next question regarding XRP, you'll see here, Cardano is the most expensive chain out there from fully diluted market cap divided by daily transactions at $442,000 a transaction. That is stupid expensive. Stacks, $430,000. Ethereum, $340,000. And Polkadot, $286,000. That is just all you need to know. But what's even crazier, because this dovetails into not only the Cardano question, but the XRP question. When I divide the actual fully diluted market cap of XRP, which today would be $147 billion, okay? Divide that by the 52,000 daily active users, you get $2.83 million per daily active user, and I don't know how many transactions they're doing. Probably not very much. That data is very hard to find. They don't share their dashboards or adoption. Plus, if there ever was a crazy Ponzi in crypto, this is it. They issue billions of dollars of tokens every quarter like clockwork. And the Ripple team even donated billions to the Harris campaign. That one confused me because I thought crypto people were pro another guy. Anyway, won't touch politics. It's a hot potato. But I just want to share that tokenomics are from hell and have been forever. And again, coincidentally, the all-time high for XRP is about 330, 350, or 380 or something like that. And Cardano is about 330. Very similar. And remember, everyone, this is the human mistake that people make. They think, oh, Bitcoin's 100,000, but I can buy Cardano for 90 cents. And that's what they do. They're not the same things, everybody. Don't be fooled by cheap prices. But anyway, these things have both pumped a lot over the last couple of weeks with the resignation of Gary Gensler. Bye-bye, Gary. See you laters. Anywho, let's get back to another question. Gold. What about gold? Well, this is a beautiful little chart that explains it all. All you need to know, this one of the things that's so bizarre about this one is if you look at the return year to date, the compound annual growth rate this year versus years ago, you will see a very interesting trend. First of all, let me make sure I get this right. It has S&P 500, and it has Bitcoin, and it has, of course, gold. So first of all, we look at gold here. Gold has had the biggest year it's had in nearly 15 years, probably 20 years, all right? If it didn't have that, the CAGR, the compound annual growth rate of gold, would be definitely far less than 5%. 5% is the compound annual growth rate for gold over the last 14, 15 years, which is terrible considering debasement is at 14%. Remember, 14% is my hurdle rate. If you are not making 14% on your assets, that includes real estate, that includes your stocks, your cash, whatever. If you're not making that, you are not treading water, ladies and gentlemen. The S&P 500 average compound annual growth rate for the last 14 years is 12%. That falls below my magical 14% hurdle rate that's needed to combat monetary debasement. By the way, debt is going through the roof. It's being added faster than ever before. So my 14% will no longer be valid. It'll be a lot higher than that too. That is horrific. So gold is a horrific performer. S&P 500, better than gold, but not enough to make it happen. You got to be in disruption, ladies and gentlemen. But look at this. Year 1, 154% CAGR. Year 14 year, 150%. So pretty impressive of where you want to be, which assets. Now, tax strategies. I'm not a tax accountant. Thankfully, I won't say what I'll probably do. Anyway, a couple of things that are very important. And it's a very important time of year, especially because everybody has made incredible money. So I'll share what I do because this is very, very important. This ties into profit taking and cash management and leverage. I also have a ton of leaps that are converting in early 2025 at very low amounts, but I need to have the cash to pay for those. So my plan is not to take profits before year end because I'd have to pay far too much taxes. Okay, and I want to use that money to buy the assets and then pay the taxes next year. But think about minimizing strategies. All you can do in crypto, you can still take a big loss. If you're holding on to a poop coin, you've lost money, sell it, take the loss, buy it back again immediately if you want to. Who cares? Also, be aware of your tax bracket, how much you are paying. Are you a 30% bracket? Are you a 54% bracket, etc.? Use tax advantage accounts to get very clever with scalping and stuff. I just started doing that for the first time in my life, and it's been a lot of fun. And also, remember, hold on to your winners. Don't be in a rush to sell your winners. It's like people that sold Amazon in the year 2001, 2002. Bill Gates selling his Microsoft shares, some of them, if they just held on, they would have a lot more. So hold on to your winners, okay? Never sell all you can take a little piece off if you need for lifestyle chips or money or whatever, a little bit of rotation, but the core goodness, keep it, okay? Very important, not tax accounting advice. What else? Number 5, charitable contributions to crypto. You can donate to charity and write things off. Shout out to Chumbawamba as well, who helped me with that last week. And consult a tax professional. Not me. There's no way one human can know tax in every state of the US and every country around the world and every situation everybody has. It's impossible. So, boom. Also, AI is pretty good for tax advice. You probably get better answers from AI than your tax accountant. Go check it out. Finally, follow the money, everybody. This is bonkers. The amount of money that the Solana blockchain is making is insane. Radium, Jito, Solana, Pump, Photon. Crazy. That chain is taking over. With that, I'm going to answer live questions. I just want to get as many of those other questions are, because I very much always try and operate at a very high level of effectiveness and efficiency. So, hope you didn't mind my speed of light. Tried to cover 460 questions in 10 charts. Let me see. Funtoshi, Adidas, All Day I Dream Versal. Yes. Today's show is sponsored by. Kidding. When's the bathrobe? Tchaikovsky, April 1st. Every year I do my comedy skit. I missed my calling being a stand-up comedian. I think that's what I was really designed to do, but I fell into the world of finance instead, which has been good. But both are good. And I think, anyway, I'm off on a rabbit hole. These questions. That's when the bathrobe is, Tchaikovsky. Tan Boy, any idea why Sol Strat is not going up when Sol is? I haven't looked at that in a while. It's probably went up too high. It was overvalued. These things, again, like I always say, you've got to get in early before anybody else in. When Sol Strategies came out, let me check actually the chart on that. CYFRF. I think it had a pump. Showed up on my radar there the other day. Hold on. CYFRF. Up 12% yesterday. So it is moving. Let me just check where it came from, because I do remember that we did get into it. And let me pull up, say, 3 months of chart. We got into it early. Yeah, we were in this thing at 10, 15, 20 cents. So now it's 5x or more. So yeah, it's gone up. And they're getting into the validator business too, which many people don't quite fully understand as well. So that's probably part of the problem. From Anonymous Cultivator and T&D Tesla, what is your view on Rivian? So that's a tricky situation. Rivian is... I'll give you the negative first. I think the Tesla Cybertruck is completely going to Osborne the hell and destroy all their existing sales cycles. They have massive inventories. They're burning cash. They're trying to get to profitability, but they'll be very hard to do unless they scale and sell a lot of vehicles of the new R2T or R plus one. I don't know what it's called. I don't track them that much, but I know enough about their financials to be dangerous. They also are desperate for money. They had to partner with Volkswagen to get some more money, but Volkswagen have them by the you-know-whats, and their technology is nowhere near as good as Tesla. So is it a cheap version of Tesla? The answer is hell no. Could they survive? Well, when you compare Rivian to all the other legacy car makers that make electric vehicles in the United States and Europe, for example, they are the best. They beat them. They beat everybody but Tesla. So that's their pro. They also have the Amazon deal where they make Amazon delivery vans that come to the house here all the time. They're really cool. The person came to the house the other day and they gave me a little tour of the van, which they probably shouldn't do, by the way, because I could have stolen packages, but that's not my style. And they know me from coming to the house many times. And I said, how do you find the vehicle? They said, I don't ever want to drive anything else. I've got 360-degree view cameras. It's really easy to maneuver. It's very quiet. They just love driving this car, kind of like the Tesla Semi. So from that perspective, they could have a chance, but they need lots and lots of money and bailouts. Can they get to positive margins? Really difficult. President Joe Biden just gave them $6.5 billion as well as another knife into Elon Musk. That's what the politicians like to do, stick knives in him. Anyhow, shout out to Gavin Newsom as well. Wow. You see, politics is just inextricably linked to everything as well. AV. My question is for pair trading non-related crypto assets on IDSS, not PTOS. What should I do when I see a sell signal? Do I need to sell one asset and buy the other immediately? No. This is so you have to first of all dial in IDSS for your time frame, watch your back test and all your different settings and your assets. But the most important thing, if you're pair trading things like MicroStrategy and Tesla, which is what I do, you have to really understand what the macro is doing as well. You take the data from the chart to say, okay, 80% of the time this works. Then you look out the window. You find out Tesla earnings coming out, or did they come out, or did MicroStrategy buy a big bag, or did Citron Capital go short MicroStrategy? You have to understand all of that because those things have a huge impact on the price. If everything is fine and normal, and it says, okay, nothing big is going on, 80% chance of a win rate here, that's when you swap. But you also have to understand the macro movement as well. So for me, Bitcoin's going to outperform Tesla through the end of the year, probably into the beginning of January until Tesla earnings come out. So think about that too. Again, time and place. Time series is everything in investing. Antonio Lombardo, anyone buying MicroStrategy bonds? Are they available to retail? No. You have to be a big institutional player to buy them. You have to be a $100 billion insurance company like Allianz out of Germany, or another big operation like this. They are the people that buy them. They're the people that are ultra conservative, but they want no downside risk and they want the upside risk of Bitcoin when they convert at those conversion ratios I showed. Julie Brain Lady Anderson. I was looking at your website, so many products, looking at DCAS program. Is that the best for a retirement strategy? If your goal is to allocate into, say, a retire on cocktail set of assets, 4, 6, 8 assets, I don't recommend more than 6 or 8 assets. If you have more than that in heavy concentrations, you kind of dilute your returns. Just be in the winning assets. It's worked for me in my life, but it takes a lot of homework to be on top of that too. DCAS will help maximize how much you spend when you buy. It'll help you time your buys and the amount that you buy. So for example, instead of putting in $100 a week into, say, Tesla, it'll tell you stay out of the market for this month or these 3 weeks. And then when the market comes back to a buying opportunity, it'll say, now you don't put $100 in, you put $227 in or $312. It'll calculate it all for you. So it'll optimize your returns. And if you look at my video yesterday, how it worked for 4 very distinct assets over the last year, unbelievable deltas in return on investment. And the other important secret of it too, if you are allocating, say, $100 a week to 4 different assets, say $400 a week or $1,600 a month, it will keep you out of the market when it's frothy. And if it doesn't deploy for you in a certain asset, like if it's not buying Bitcoin after a $65,000 to $100,000 spike, you can always buy something else. It'll say, okay, well, it's not saying to buy Bitcoin, but now you can go buy Tesla or Solana or whatever else. So that's and I think it's $13 now. The best $13 you'll ever spend. It's one of those things that will really help people really change their retirement plan and optimize their investment. That's why we basically give it away for free. BG, what do you think about holding call options 90 days out on stocks like Bitcoin, Tesla, ETFs, and Coinbase? No, short-term call options are murder. 90 days. Actually, the exact math is the last 65 days of a call option, the time value dissipates off a cliff. Okay, you sell short-term call options. You do not buy them. Okay? Now, if there is a special situation where something is beaten down hard, like I remember Tesla fell to $106. I was looking at the $150 call options for 2025, and I bought a rake load of them because they were selling for peanuts. So that's because I knew we were going to go back up above 150. And I was optimizing, should I buy the 120s, the 110s, the 130s, 140s? The 150s were the cheapest because they were $46 or $44 out of the money. They were giving them away. So you throw a couple of bucks at this thing, you wait a couple of years, you make a fortune. So that's the only time you buy out of the money call options too. I want to stress that as well. Sergey, what's your thoughts on DPIN this cycle? DPIN is incredible. Some of the DPIN plays like Helium, I have. Phenomenal to see the adoption and things like that. So DPIN is the way of the future, where cryptos have really good product market fit and use cases, and they no longer have to invest in their own blockchain. They can focus on their business. So it's a gift to both crypto and blockchain and to these businesses too. And of course, Solana's the DPIN chain. Randux, let me see. Is it possible for MicroStrategy to be the black swan of this cycle? Can third parties cause it to be and blow up the whole thing up? No. Like, for example, MicroStrategy have what I call pristine collateral. Yes, it's volatile, but they have a monster bag of Bitcoin that they can always fall back on. And Michael Saylor said he's never selling. He also is very clever at risk management, because I watch, if you imagine he's a car and he has an RPM engine going up to 10,000 RPMs, he never goes above 500 RPMs. I mean, the needle will hardly come up. He was not going to expose himself to any risk of any type of collateral damage. So no. And I can't get over the seething hatred that everybody has to MicroStrategy. But just check out a video. I saw a video from Preston Pish and Checkmatey on YouTube yesterday. I don't watch many videos. These guys get it. These guys are some of the best minds in the business. They understand Bitcoin cold. And the penny dropped for both of them regarding MicroStrategy. So watch that video, everybody. I'll drop a link to it afterwards in a comment below as well. It's really cool. And again, one little investment lesson for people here: follow high IQ people. All right? Don't listen to dummies, or don't listen to people who are toxic or butthurt. Listen to high IQ people. Listen to people who have made fortunes in the markets. All right? Don't doubt them. Don't fade Elon Musk. Don't fade Michael Saylor. All right? Very important. Let me see. I got a team here getting me some questions, looking for some more. I'm going to jump in because I don't even know what time it is. We'll go another 5 minutes, and I'll let you all get back to your holiday. Let me see. Oh, dear. XRP just doesn't make any economic sense. It's ridiculous. But that's crypto. Stupid stuff can happen, and people will chase the pump, and that's it. Let me see. Hello, everybody, as well. Once again, TND Tesla, KA, Sean Donnelly, and the Discord UFC fans. Yay. Let me see. Cool one here from Sil. As a 19-year-old student, I am heavily invested in Solana, Bitcoin, and Sui. I plan to hold for at least 10 to 15 years. I was curious about your advice. Oh, the advice is real simple. Never, ever, ever plan to hold anything 10 to 15 years. Everything changes every day. The thesis can change. That's why I always stress tap dancing shoes. Tap dancing shoes. All right? Solana could go to zero tomorrow. Tesla could go to zero tomorrow. Bitcoin could go to zero tomorrow. Sui could go to zero tomorrow. Balance risk and reward. That's why I do diversify very lightly, but I do a little bit in case one bag actually blows up. And always think about rotation, because imagine you got your three horses, Sui, Sol, and Bitcoin. Was it? Sol, Bitcoin, and Sui. There's always a time where your horse will run out of steam, like in a horse race. So if you look at the clever jockeys who ride horses, I used to have to watch that stuff as a kid and go to the Preakness and the East Coast and stuff. But the really, really good jockeys, they hang behind and they're in the slipstream of the winning horse, what you think is the winning horse. And then the last, I think they call it a furlong. No idea how long that is. A furlong, if anyone knows, let me know. I need some education. Then they come up from behind and they sprint. So be on your horse while it's running fast. And then as it begins to run out of steam, you see something coming up from behind, jump on that too. So think about rotation, watch your taxes. Let me see. Elliot Kindly, when will the pair trade model be released and how will it differ from IDS, mean reversion, and PTOS? So it's not a pair trading model per se. I call it the rotation model. And I've been experimenting, as I told you, with that IRA account, 9 trades, 6x the bag in 150 days, which is quite incredible. I'm trying to take that learning and expand it to not only multiple assets and optimize how much you swap between assets based on a whole bunch of different indicators. It will use things like mean reversion, IDSS, the ATR model, stuff like that, elements of PTOS. So all of the modeling we've done, every single model has a number of different magic sauce bits. We're now creating a model of models around the models for the rotation, which is the most important thing in investing. Again, you hold the majority of your winning assets, but you can make a lot of money pair trading between different assets, especially volatile ones. If you can time that right, you could 6x your bag every 150 days. And that's without the use of margin or options. And that was the experiment to myself. And yes, it's been a crazy time in the markets, but the team, we have a whole bunch of coders, Python experts, data scientists, modelers. They're trying to crack the code on this, and we've been working on it for a long time. We tried originally with Sol alts and crypto, couldn't make it work. Now we're trying it with stocks. So stay tuned. I think we hopefully will have a breakthrough, but it will not come until early next year at the earliest. Again, this stuff has never been done before. It's everything, all our models they've never existed before. So we make, I try and model myself on Elon Musk, make the impossible merely late. So sorry about that one. Slipping Elon in there again. Rowan Bailey, NFA, if you had a solid BTC Tesla bag and no MicroStrategy, no exposure right now, would you DCAS now or too late? It depends. You watch very carefully. What you need to watch for this, and the magic of this, is check Patreon. I'll pull it up one more time. You can actually DCAS or scalp MicroStrategy when the NAV premium is low. If you see a NAV premium around 2, it actually hit 2.05 on, was it yesterday or the day before? I don't even remember. It was either Tuesday or yesterday. It hit 2.05. That's the time you jump in. MicroStrategy fell down to like 403, or I can't remember the exact numbers, and now it's back up around 500. So yes, you can do that, but play it. It depends on your tax situation. If it's for a long-term bag, I think, again, follow smart people. If Saylor executes what he thinks he can do, then that's an infinite playbook. All right. The playbook from MicroStrategy that people don't understand. I'll hammer it home again because people still don't get it. Okay. He is disrupting $100 trillion bond market. He is giving the people the ability to play Bitcoin with no downside risk. That's it. Don't overthink it. If this is the magic of it, if he can do this at scale, like go 42 billion and then to 100 billion and then to 200 billion and then to $500 billion, that's it. Bitcoin goes to the moon and so does MicroStrategy stock. Okay? So it's just a patience game. Don't overthink it. The best things in life are simple, and take the time to really make sure that penny drops, because I've been talking about that for my third ever video ever in October 2020. Anywho, back to business. Mooning Kiwi, watching with my girlfriend. Hi. Hello, girlfriend. Can you please explain in short why she should hold Bitcoin? She doesn't listen to me. That's a tough one. It's the only asset on the planet that is truly hard. It's scarce. 5 million of the 21 million Bitcoin are lost. And now we're still early. The adoption, if you imagine 50 million people on the planet out of 8 billion, they're all that are in this. And most of them only have pennies in it. We are still very early. When adoption comes, we get into the S-curve, price will go to the moon. And I'm very confident that this thing could 10x from here by 2032. And that's in the next, 6, 7, 8 years. We'll see. Either way, it's going to be crazy. And it's safe. It's volatile, but it's safe for now. But again, as I say, tap dancing shoes. We'll keep an eye on certain things like quantum computing, etc. as we go forward. Janissa Scott, just started following you this year. If a person missed your retirement starting strategy, what would be the best way to do it now? I got this question literally 100 times yesterday. It's like, no. So I do these retire on series. I've done, again, a ton of them. There's a whole playlist. You'll see it here afterwards. I do them at opportune times when it's a perfect time to deploy. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's not a perfect time to deploy right now. The only thing I'd be buying is Tesla in the low 300s. I would not be buying Bitcoin at 100,000. I would not be buying Solana at 250. I would not be buying MicroStrategy unless we go down to a NAV premium of 2 or 2.05. So that's how I look at things, okay? And I am very aggressive because I like to get at least 3x on my money in a year. If I don't see, like, I see maybe, if Bitcoin was at 60K, I buy it at 60K because I think it could go to 180K. But is it going to 300K? No, not in a year. Therefore, I won't buy. But Tesla has an opportunity to do that if through 2026 with all the stuff that I think is going to happen. So Janissa, DCA and steroids into a Tesla position. Build that up slowly. Learn the markets, watch, and wait for the bear market. Bear market should kick in about 9 months. In crypto, maybe not, but possibly. And then we'll be ready too. Toshi, have you ever considered getting rid of the real estate leg of the stool for pristine collateral? A two-legged stool in a castle? Absolutely. Every day I think about that. The problem is in California, it's impossible to sell right now. There are no buyers. It's the most deathly market I've ever seen in 25 years in that particular market. Nobody has cash. Terrible recession. Cities not doing too well. It's a perfect storm. So you don't sell things at rock bottoms. That's when you buy things. So there'll come a day, hopefully, I can offload that third-legged stool. But again, everybody needs a castle too. But we'll see. Hypersonic Monkey Brains, has this been the single most boring day in crypto in its history, or is it just me? It's a fantastic day. I love every day. I'm grateful for every day. Let's see what's going on. The Solana 236, Bitcoin. Remember, it'll be low volume for sure. 95K, we're holding strong at 95K. But remember, Bitcoin moves fast. Yesterday, 5.5 grand in a couple of hours, 19 hours. It could do that again too. And let me see. Devin Kokwapa. What about mostly Bitcoin versus Tesla? Because the whole world is coming for Bitcoin, not all coming for Tesla. Tesla is an exponential disruption force that's coming even bigger than Bitcoin. And my 4th of July video, at the current prices, I think Tesla was at 170, Bitcoin was at 67,000. I said Tesla will 3x outperform Bitcoin by 2032. The internet doesn't lie. We'll see if I'm right. But people don't understand the exponentiality of robots and autonomy. the value that that's going to create is going to melt faces way more than a store of value. That's just the nature of the business. And Green Media, hello James, been following you for just under a year. Been so happy, been able to build my wealth up to, we don't talk about the amount, but wow. All right, so I'm going to make sure I read this clearly. Green Media, they've gotten to a pretty good Bitcoin position at a very young age, at 23. The question is, will I be financially free at 65? Yes. But remember, don't bank on that amount of Bitcoin to save you forever. There could be faster assets that will come along, okay? You've got another 45 years almost. The world will be extremely different in 5 years, never mind 45 years. Bitcoin may not even exist in 10 years. It exists now. Again, remember I mentioned the horses? You ride them till they run out of steam, and then you move. You don't get married to any asset, and you got loyalty to no asset. The minute you start having these crazy loyalties is the minute you start losing, okay? Have no emotion when you invest, and have no physical connection, emotional connection with any asset. I have to stress that because people get stuck in their bags, and that's really bad. Ace Cat, what are you thankful for? I'm thankful for Tough Guy, who sent me this little bottle of Johnny Walker Black Label. When Bitcoin hits $100,000, I'm going to try my first ever whiskey, and I'm thankful for that. Thankful for the weather and health. And my back isn't killing me today. So, well, it is sort of. Not too bad, though. Last question. Deva Chapman, is it too late to buy into Tesla? No, that's the only thing I'm buying right now. But wait, it has some very, very nice dips down to low 320s, 310s. Wait for those dips and get some. But again, also, don't quibble. If you have no Tesla position, get it. And I've been talking about building a bag of, if you can get to 300 shares, that will be life-changing. It's harder to do now when it's, nearly 350. But at 100, it wasn't that hard to do. Anyway, thank you as well, everybody, for coming. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for your super sticker. Silicon Valley Stoic, Beatcorn Bull, Beatcorn. See, that's an April 1st video. Green Candle, KT, Justice for All, Max Grease. I love that. Mary Magdalene, with Mary like Christmas. Brilliant name. Blaze the Gecko, CM Silver, Shark Lover, Ankle Baxton, Beatty McGee, User, Henry Linehan, B-Man63, Wagabond, Gareth Hayes, Adam Q. I'm your Huckleberry, Saul Strider, and Dog One. Love you all, everybody. See you tomorrow early. Thanks all for coming. Thank you to mods in the chat. Be safe. And remember, expect some volatility over this holiday weekend with low volumes. And strike while the iron is hot. Bye.